Okay, so メアリーさんはタバコを吸うだと思います。I'm confused.
So am
Okay, so what were you trying to say?
I think Mary smokes.
Okay, so what's the dictionary form of to smoke? タバコを吸う。吸う。タバコを吸う。Okay, and what is da? Da is the short form of what?
Des.
Des. Do you need des in that sentence normally? みのりさんはタバコを吸います。Right? So if you don't need des to complete the long form sentence, you don't need da to insert it with 思います。Does that make sense?
So you basically only use the da when you need a des.
Sort of, but there's a little tweak to that because
Dun, dun, dun.
高い、きれいな、and let's say 学生だ。Okay, the straight adjectives 高い、きれいな、学生 noun. Okay, if you're saying them in sentences like something is expensive, 高いです, right? きれいな changes to きれいです, right? 学生です, right? So all three of those take des to make a long form sentence. When you're changing it to a casual sentence, for both of these, des changes to da. So きれいだ, it's pretty. 学生だ, he's a student. Okay? But 高い doesn't need da to make it a short form.
You just drop the des?
You just drop the des. So that's the exception to what you were saying, that if you're making the short forms of not adjectives and nouns take da. Okay? The short forms of the adjectives just drop the des completely. And that's what sometimes gets people confused. Even native speaker Japanese people, especially younger people who haven't had as much grammar instruction yet, you will sometimes hear them adding a dot when it's not necessary.
It's kind of the same as the ina. So
Yeah.
the e just stays and there is no da.
Right.
So it's just the na and the noun des.
Na and noun. And yeah, you will find that over and over, na adjectives and nouns follow a lot of the same rules. Conjugation rules, converting from formal to casual rules. In general, non-adjectives basically get treated like nouns, except for those few little places where they're, oh, by the way, that's actually an adjective, you know.
Right.
But a lot of non-adjectives came from Chinese and may very well be nouns in Chinese, but they got used as adjectives in Japanese. E-adjectives are generally of Japanese origin. Just like the difference in kanji between onyomi and kunyomi, we've got Chinese origin readings and Japanese origin readings. In terms of vocabulary, we've got mostly Japanese origin e-adjectives and mostly Chinese origin na-adjectives. And part of the reason for the na and the weird conjugations is because, once again, Chinese adjectives don't conjugate in any way whatsoever.
Well, they have a similar form pattern.
Right.
They conjugate.
Well, Chinese doesn't conjugate, period. They just don't conjugate anything. They add something to the sentence if they need to, but they don't conjugate the word. Okay? Japanese has to conjugate. E-adjectives, because they were native words, already had a way to conjugate them. Na-adjectives, because they got borrowed, they had to kind of graft on a conjugation system, so they borrowed the one that existed for nouns. Does that make sense? At least that's my understanding of it. I don't know how historically accurate that is, but it's a way to understand it anyway,
Yeah.
you know? And it's kind of like the way verbs that take suru, words like benkyo, benkyo suru.
To do study.
Benkyo is a two kanji compound that comes from Chinese. The only way to conjugate something that came from Chinese is to stick something on the end of it that you can conjugate. So that's why you've got benkyo suru. And words from other languages like
Tense.
sports suru, tennis suru, football suru, soccer suru. You have to graft something onto it that can be conjugated in a Japanese way. Whereas, taberu is a Japanese word. Taberu is probably, the original form, or, as close to that as we can get with modern languages. But the kanji is what got grafted on, because the word taberu already existed before they had a kanji to write it with. Make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, in a way, maybe.
Okay. I'm glad I got through at least a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Chink in the armor there somewhere. Okay, so このクラスは寒いと思います. There's an example of not needing a da because it is 寒い. Okay, so I think this class is cold. Yeah. I think you meant classroom, right?
So, kyoshitsu?
Yes, kyoshitsu is better here. Kyoshitsu. この教室は寒いと思います. Because if you're saying this class, that's a little confusing because kurasu sounds like it's referring to the course, not really the classroom.
Maybe
So
we're doing
who is it
Arctic
that's
studies.
cold? And is it the course content that's cold, the people who are cold? It's a little weird. So kyoshitsu works better there. Okay. ノートはこの本は面白いと言っていました. So my little sister said, this book's interesting. Right? Okay. And you could change this to ga,
Just because it's the
just
second law.
because it's the second law, but I don't think you have to, because even in the textbook they did have more than one wa in a couple of their examples.
Like, it just sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Can anybody show me specifically where that is, where the second law can be turned into ga? I don't know if I just keep going over it.
Well,
We
there's-
talked about it in class.
In chapter
Yeah.
6, or in not in chapter, the section 6 is entirely dedicated to God, so it's probably
Right, but
there.
well,
Okay.
it's not really specifically talked about in there, in this. This is something that I don't remember if the book actually talks
No,
about
we
it, or
talked
if it's
about it
just,
before.
we've talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it
I don't
extensively
remember the
before.
book
Yeah.
actually going over it in that much detail, but we've talked about it.
It's
The ga segment in this chapter is actually talking about the fact that when you're talking about a negative or a question, you often use ga in place of wa. And sometimes if you're making a contrast, if wa is sort of the default setting, ga creates the contrast if you replace it. So like, the example he was using here was something about Okinawa, right? Robato-san ga Okinawa ni ikimashita. So, usually, if you're just saying Robert went to Okinawa, it would be Robato-san wa Okinawa ni ikimashita, right? If you change it to ga,
So it'd be like,
You're-
no, Robert went to Okinawa.
yeah, it's more
Right.
like that.
The emphasis
It's
on
the
him, yeah, I
emphasis.
understand that.
Okay, but the wa-ga thing is so complex, they don't even attempt to explain it all in one chapter here, which I don't blame them, because you could do a whole
I just want to make sure I get
doctoral
it right.
dissertation probably on ga.
I just want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Okay, so like I said, here, you could replace the second one with ga just by virtue of the fact that you've already got a wa here, and so it sounds natural to let the second one be ga. But if you're trying to be more like quoting what your sister said, then wa is more likely what she actually said, right? So, この本は面白い, if that's a direct quote, then you don't want to change it to ga, right? So, 妹はこの本 wa omoshiroi to ittemashita works. But again, you'd have to have like a linguist expert in the wa-ga thing to pin down exactly which one of those is better or why.
We just want to know how to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mary-san wa umi o tanoshii to omoimasu.
The
Okay.
ocean is fun.
Okay. Okay, so tanoshii means enjoyable, fun, right? It doesn't normally take o. When you're describing something with an e adjective, what particles does the thing you're describing usually take? Look at this example. Yeah. Okay, so you can put wa or ga there, you cannot use o here. Okay, o goes with verbs that take a direct object. Okay, so you can do wa or ga there. Mary-san wa umi wa tanoshii to omoimasu. Or, if you want ga instead, Mary-san wa umi ga tanoshii to omoimasu. Okay. So, Sue-san wa ashita class ga aru to ittemashita. Okay, so Sue-san said she has class tomorrow. See, in this case, class works, kurasu, because she's got a class that's going to meet tomorrow, right? Over there, we're talking about kyoshitsu, classroom. Okay, that's okay, we'll forgive you. Any questions?
Plenty. Just can't think of all of them at once.
Okay, well, that's what office hours are for, too.
Then I think the no ga too.
Okay, so let's do some sample sentences about noga.
Do you completely understand that? Do you? I mean, is it just me? Okay, good.
Okay, okay.
Were you already there?
So the header for that segment of Nenshu is Benkyou suru no ga, right? Benkyou suru no ga. What was it? Suki desu? Benkyou suru no ga suki desu ka?
Which section are we on this?
Section 5.
Benkyou
Oh,
suru
I was
no
reading on the
ga.
right page.
Okay. So it's asking, do you like, right? Suki desu ka is do you like, right? Everybody got that part?
Yeah.
Do you like something? The something that they're asking about is the act of studying.
So,
Okay,
what do you think
The
would be
no is turning what would otherwise be a verb phrase into a noun phrase.
So
Okay.
would it be more like, do you like the study, or do you like studying?
It's more like, do you like studying? Because in English, studying works as a noun in the sentence, right? They sometimes call it a gerund.
Yeah.
Some people might not know that term, but it's basically, in English, the ing form can take a verb and turn it into something that works like a noun, right? So she likes studying. Studying in that example is a noun, right? It's the thing that she likes, right?
Right.
So in this case, benkyou suru by itself can't act in the place of a noun, but benkyou suru no can act in the place of a noun. So when you put this whole thing together as a unit, this becomes a noun phrase.
So essentially, the particle no acts pretty much the same that ing does in English.
Right. Or if we go back to early days when we talked about things like kono versus kore, and watashi no sensei, or daigaku no sensei. No is what allows you to connect one noun to another noun, right?
Right.
And it's also what allows you to turn a pronoun like kore into something that functions like a noun, like kono hon instead of これは本です。この本は私のです or この本は面白いです or whatever, right? You remember all that? So no has this function, its basic function seems to be to help nouns do stuff, right? So in this case, it's helping a verb turn itself into a noun, okay? So you can take any verb, サッカーするのが好きですか? Do you like playing soccer? Think about the contrast between サッカーが好きですか? Do you like soccer? Versus サッカーをするのが好きですか? Do you like playing
Yeah.
soccer?
Because you
Because
could be
you
a
could
soccer
also-
fan but not actually play.
Right, you could also ask サッカーを見るのが好きですか? Do you like to watch soccer? They're two different activities, right? Some people might hate one and love the other, right? So,
Oh, I like to play soccer. I just hate watching myself do it.
or you like watching it, but you're a total couch potato and you can't get off your butt to play it, right? So, both are options, right? Both are possibilities. So you've got a way now to express the noun phrase.
Yeah.
You know, blank ga suki desu ka? Do you like this noun? But you can take a verb phrase and put it into a noun disguise so that you can ask, do you like that activity of doing such and such? Sushi o taberu no ga suki desu ka? Do you like the act of eating sushi? You know, hon o yomu no ga suki desu ka? Do you like reading books? Okay, do you see how it works? So it's very useful, right? 日本語を勉強するのが好きですか? Do you like studying Japanese language? You know, you can take any activity that you can think of and turn it into a short form plus no noun phrase to be able to ask, do you like that activity? And it takes ga because any phrase that's asking, do you like X, takes ga. Right? Remember way back when we first learned suki desu, we learned Mary-san wa Takeshi-san ga suki desu. Mary likes Takeshi, right? You can do the same thing here. Mary-san wa Nihongo o benkyou suru no ga suki desu. Mary likes studying Japanese. Or, you know, Kashi-san wa hon o yomu no ga suki desu. Cassie likes to read books, right? Hey. Yeah. Zaku-san wa boushi o kaburu no ga suki desu.
There we go.
He likes to wear hats. Or one hat in particular, maybe.
I have a bunch
Yeah.
more at home.
Do you get how it works now? Does that make sense? And isn't it useful? Okay, so we can say all kinds of stuff just because now we've got the means to make a short form. Look at all the things you can do with a short form verb. You can say your opinion about something. 面白いと思います. 明日勉強すると思います. I think I'll study tomorrow. You know, you can say what you think you're going to do. You can say what somebody else told you.
Also,
このクラスは面白いと言っていました. Or 明日日本に行くと言っていました. Right? And now you can also say that you like different activities. Right?
just a quick question though, even though it's short form, it doesn't necessarily mean a drop in politeness, right?
Right, because in Japanese, the ending controls how polite the whole sentence is.
Oh.
Okay? So how do you make this question casual? Make that short form. Okay? This being short form is a necessity for this grammar point. The desu ka can be short form or long form depending on who you're asking. This can go up and down to control the politeness of the sentence. So,
okay.
日本語を勉強するのが好き? Do you like studying Japanese? Casual form. 日本語を勉強するのが好きですか? Same question, formal form. See the difference? Same thing is true of those guys over there. 妹はこの本は面白いと言った。Or と言っていた. We're going to learn the past tense short forms next lesson. So we haven't learned how to do that yet. But once you know how to do short form past tense, ていました can be shortened to the casual form. And then you can say casually, my little sister said such and such. Right? Same thing with 楽しいと思います。メアリーさんは海が楽しいと思う。Mary thinks the beach is fun, or the ocean is fun. You can say casual, と思う instead of と思います。Okay? Here too, この教室は寒いと思う。I think this classroom's cold. Right? So any sentence where it's in the present tense, we now know how to change it to casual form. Next lesson, we'll also learn how to do the same thing for things that are in the past tense. We just haven't studied those forms yet. Okay? I think they felt like they had enough content in this lesson without adding that too. Yeah, this book usually separates teaching you present tense from teaching you past tense because they are different forms. And so that way you don't get overwhelmed.
Together the stuff with adjectives, but
yeah. Okay, maybe they did with adjectives, but with verbs they seem to separate them out. Okay, so last class we started to practice some 日本人だと思います sentences, right? You know, 毎日日本語を話すと思います and all that good stuff, right?
you mean
Lesson,
exercise 3A?
yeah, 3A. We started that one. I don't think we quite finished it, but we got pretty close. Am I right?
I don't remember where we left off.
I think we left off with like 6 or 7. So the question is, do you guys want to finish out that exercise, or do you feel like that was enough and we can go on to B?
I don't think it would hurt to finish it up, but I don't know about everyone else.
Anyone have a strong opinion one way or the other?
What would it be?
好きでも嫌いでもない。
嫌いでもない。Here you go.
Yeah. Okay. So tell you what, let's go on to something different, and then we can always go back and do that one again if we feel like we needed more practice with it.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at B. So we're making a guess about the person or place below and answering the questions. Okay, so the examples on this page, but if you flip the page, you see who they're talking about. They're talking on section A, they're talking about, I think that's supposed to be Yamashita sensei.
Yeah.
And then section B, we're talking about that picture of the uni somewhere in Japan. Okay? So let's have Sanden-san to Zaka-san read the question and the answer from the example to start with.
この人は日本人ですか？
日本人だと思います。
はい. And then if you wanted to say the negative, it would be?
いえ、日本人じゃないと思います。
はい. There you go.
I guess I need to
いい
warm
で
up
す
my
ね。
accent.
Okay. じゃあ、ザックさんとカシさん、1番。
Alright. 山下先生はいい先生ですか？
いい先生だと思います。
はい。じゃあ2番どうぞ。
有名ですか？いえ、有名いいじゃないですと思います。
はい。有名じゃないと思います。有名じゃないと思います。
有名 is that also another one of the new ones?
有名 is famous. And if you look at the kanji for it, the yu
Oh, yeah.
is the same kanji that means aru, to have or to exist.
I thought that was
And
familiar.
mei is from na, namae. So it's
Oh.
actually to have a name. Yume na is literally to have a name.
So
Be
it's-
famous. It makes sense,
It's
right?
like having a name for yourself.
Exactly. Okay, so 有名ですか、有名じゃないと思います。There we go. じゃあ3番、アンバーさん。
今ですか？
暇だと思います。
暇だと思います。いいですね。
He does
Yeah.
in free time.
はい。じゃあ4番どうぞ。
頭がいいですか？
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 うん、頭がいいだと思います。
頭がいい
いい
と思い
と思い
ます。
ます。
Remember, because it's an e adjective, we leave out the
Da.
da, okay, that you would put with a na adjective.
Yeah, I think he's smart.
はい、頭がいいと思います。はい。じゃあどうぞ5番。
背が高いですか？
背が高い、背が高い, I'm trying to remember how to conjugate, why can't I remember? 高くないです。
高くない
だ。Wait,
高
高く
くな
ない
いと
と思います。
はい、there you go. ない because it ends with an e, it conjugates like a
Right.
e adjective. Okay, so 高くないと思います。
Yeah.
Okay, 高くないと思います。背が高くないと思います。じゃあ6番どうぞ。
難しいですか？
難しいと思います。
はい。じゃあ7番どうぞ。
結婚してますか？
結婚してと思います。
何？結婚
sorry 結婚してと思います。
しています。So している or していない。
いる
Okay, していると思います。Okay, so be careful with any of the phrases that have the te imas form. Okay, so things like 結婚しています。
Gotta remember what the word
Dictionary
is.
form of this, the short form of this, is not to just drop the imas, it's to change imas to iru. Okay? So 結婚している is the short form of that. And if it were negative, 結婚していません, the short form of that would be 結婚していない. Okay? So you gotta remember you're conjugating the imas into the short form. The te has to stay as is because there's no short versus long for te forms. Te forms are just te forms.
Yeah, he's currently married.
Right. So 結婚していると思います or 結婚していないと思います。いいですか? Make sense?
はい。
はい。じゃあどうぞ。結婚していないと思います。OK。じゃあ8番どうぞ。
お金をたくさん
お金。
お金
はい。
お金をたくさん持っています。
たくさんお金と思い
お金を
言っています。
たくさんお金を持って
います。
持ってい
る。
と思います。
So I think he has a lot of money.
Yeah. Same thing we just talked about. 持っています is the long form. 持っている is the short form. So たくさんお金を持っていると思います. Because we're just guessing about this, right? So you're saying, I think he probably has a lot of money, right? We don't know for sure. I mean, he's dressed in a nice suit, but maybe teachers in Japan don't make that much either. Okay, so you get how it goes? So, お金を持っていると思います. いいですか?
よく勉強ますか？
勉強
What?
Where are
勉
you?
強ますか？
はい何
Cuba.
9番ですね。よく食べますか? It sounded like you said 勉強.
Did I?
That's what I heard.
Okay, well, sorry, no
Okay.
ears but thank you, exactly.
Try again.
Yoku tabimasu.
There you go. Yoku tabemasu ka?
How would I answer that?
Do you think he eats often or a lot or well? It could be any of those. So you could say, "Hai, yoku taberu
食べる
to
と思います。
omoimasu," or "Iie, yoku tabenai to omoimasu."
そう、よく食べないものと思います。
Yoku tabenai
食べない
to omoimasu. To omoimasu. That's how it works. いいですね. And if you wanted to, you could add like an amari in there. Amari yoku tabenai to omoimasu. I don't think he eats all that well.
Or all that often.
Or all that often. One of those. じゃあ10番どうぞ.
よくスポーツをしますか？
スポーツをしない
と、
と思います。
はい。あんまりスポーツをしないと思います.
Just trying to remember if I got the conjugation right.
Okay, and by the way, and really don't fit in well if you're ending the
Oh,
sentence
right.
with a formal.
So,
So,
yeah.
いいえ、よくスポーツをしないと思います. Fits better.
Right.
Yeah. If you wanted to say it in casual form, you could do the whole thing in casual. スポーツをしないと思
Yeah.
う. Okay.
The way
so-
I'm saying it's like, I do not think he does.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird combination sometimes. So, どうぞ、11番.
Okay. フランス語を話しますか？
はい、works?
いえ、フランス語を話しないと思います。話さない。
There you go. 話さないと思います. There you go. じゃあ、1番 of part B.
ここは日本ですか？ここが
ここ。
ここは
はい。
日本じゃないと思います。
Okay, that works.
I don't think it's a Japanese beach.
Don't think it's in Japan. I can't really tell. It's very ambiguous, so that works. Saying 日本じゃないと思います works just fine. じゃあ、2番.
有名なところですか？
ところ。
ところですか？
夢だと思います。
はい、有名だと思います. Okay, or 有名なところだと思います. Either one is going to still take the だと思います because you can use just the adjective or the adjective plus the noun.
So,
Right.
I don't think it's a famous...
But she said she thinks it is a famous beach. So 有名なところだと思います or 有名だと思います. Either I think it's a famous place or I think it's famous. Both answers work well. じゃあ3番どうぞ.
クッキーはカレーですか？
綺麗だと思います。
はい、綺麗だと思いますね。はい、じゃあ4番どうぞ。
暑いですか？
Oh, はい、暑いだ、
It's an E adjective,
Oh.
so,
oh, 暑いと思います。
はい、there you go. Go by.
Right. Let's see. 冬
はい。
は寒いですか？ Is the water cold?
No, 冬 is winter.
Oh,
冬
is the
は
winter
寒い
cold?
ですか? So do you think it's cold there in the winter time?
I really need to brush up on this book.
はい、ちょっと寒いと思います。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ6番どうぞ。
人がたくさん住んでいますか？ Does it have many people?
Does it have a lot of people who live there? Yeah.
人がたくさん住んでいいと思います。
Are you trying to say not a lot of people or yes, a lot of people?
I guess.
Okay, so たくさん住んでいると思います。Okay? And if you wanted to say you thought it's not a lot of people, あまり住んでいないと思います。いいですか？どうぞ。
ここの人はよく泳ぎますか？
いえ、泳ぎと思います。
Okay, what were you trying to say?
Yes, that they do.
Okay, はい。じゃあ、はい、よく泳ぐと思います。
So yeah, the people who
I
swim.
keep putting the goo on that, on a yogu into the key form.
Okay, we're working backwards here, right? Because you're used to working from dictionary form to mas form, but oyogimasu is the mas form, right?
Correct.
So how do you convert that to dictionary form?
Okay.
Well, it's not oyogiru, right? It's not a ru verb. So you wouldn't just drop the mas and add a ru onto it. Instead, you have to take the gi and change it. So if it goes
Just
ga,
put it back to
gi,
its
gu,
dictionary form,
yeah, so you need to change it back to gu,
complete dictionary form.
dictionary form, yeah, oyogu. So oyogu to omoimasu.
Yeah, the people swim there a lot.
はい。よく泳ぐと思います。If you wanted to say that you think they don't swim a lot, what would you change it to?
Yogi nine.
泳
Good night.
がない。
Guy night.
いや、泳がないと思います。Okay? 泳がないと思います。はい。いいですね。
夏によく雨が降りますか？
降りますか？はい。
降りますか？
降りますか？降ります。
夏によく雨が降りますか？
よく降ると思います。
はい。よく降ると思います。いいですね。
So it rains there a lot?
That's what he thinks, yeah. We don't know. We don't have any idea where this beach actually is. So we're just answering however we feel like guessing, right?
Just trying to make sure my translations are
Yep.
on.
Okay. いいですか? So part C, discuss the following topics in pairs or groups. So what we're going to try to do here is one person's going to start, somebody's going to answer, the first person who started is going to try to come up with a reply, and we're going to try to see how long we can keep it going, where one person and the other making comments. And if anybody else wants to get in on the action and make comments about that same topic, they can too, just like if it were a normal conversation among 5 friends who happen to speak Japanese.
Freestyle!
Okay, and then whoever their turn is next, they'll start the next conversation. So we're going to try to do this a little bit more conversation style. Okay, so I want to, just for the sake of practice, let's start with the example, but we don't have to stop where A has the ... We can let that person make another comment and see how far we can take it before we run out of things to say.
Let B-san continue.
Okay, so, see, Sandan-san is going to be A, and Zaku-san is going to be B. And let's see how much of a dialogue we can turn this into.
So we're doing it in pairs, or?
Well, you're doing it in pairs, but if any of the other 3 people have a comment they want to add in that's relevant to what's being said, they can. Okay? Dozo.
Join
So
us.
we're going to start from the example, but expand upon it. Dozo.
大学の食堂についてどう思いますか？
安くて、美味しいと思います。私はよく食べに行きます。 A さんはと思いますか？
どう思いますか？
どう思いますか？
私は魚が食べと思います。Would that be right?
So
What
I
are you
think
trying
I
to-
like sushi.
Well, sakana is fish, not
Or
sushi.
not sushi, fish.
What were you trying to say?
I think I will eat fish.
魚を食べる
食べる
と思い
と思いま。
ますす。はい。
魚を
はい。
OK。魚を食べ
食べる
ると思います。
食べると思います。Okay, so any other comments from anybody about university cafeteria? 大学の食堂。No more?
きれい思います。
きれいだ
きれいだ思います。と思います。
だと思います。はい。
だ
きれいだと思います。
きれいだと思い
All
ま
of
す
those parts in there.
Okay.
きれいだと思います。いいで
Yes,
す
it's
ね。
clean.
はい。Okay. じゃあ、this should be an interesting one. This town, この町、meaning
メルボ
Melbourne, also known as Melbourne, right?
There's like a few interesting things, but I always miss them.
Okay, so どうぞ. So you're asking Cassie what she thinks of Konomachi, and she's going to have an opinion, I hope.
So, okay.
I'm not usually around here, so.
Well, you have memories when you used to live here.
I only know them around.
Okay, well, then
Make it up.
we'll make it up. Or you can talk about what Merritt Island was like.
Or we can just make up an imaginary town.
Okay, どうぞ.
So, この町はと思いますか？
この町について
について。
どう思いますか?
Wait, what part did I forget?
について
につ
is
いて。
regarding. So,
Oh.
この町について is like talking about this
こ
town.
の町について。
につい
に
て。
ついて。
はい、この町について oops,
どう思います？
どう思いますか?
ど
So,
う思いますか？
この町 sorry, 町についてどう思い
Oh, right. So, ど is just the to changing form. Kind of like the.
No,
sort of?
どう is
Wait.
how about.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was
どう
like
で
the
す
wa
か
da
is how
thing.
is it? Or how about such and such? So どう思いますか is what's your opinion about? How do you think, how do you feel about this? So こ
Right.
の町についてどう思いますか? So regarding this town, what do you think? Okay, so この町についてどう思いますか? And we're aiming for at least 2 adjectives in one sentence.
Okay. この町は忙しくてつまらないです。
Okay,
It is boring
and
and
busy.
busy.
Okay.
Especially on the
Okay, so you're
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
in terms of like the
Roads.
traffic is busy. Okay. I'm not sure if isogashi is what they would use for that, but yeah, I think that's about nigiaka. Maybe, but nigiaka it sounds more like what?
Lively, interesting.
Lively, like the nightlife or whatever, which we don't have much of. But, yeah. I don't think we've learned a better term for like busy traffic yet. So, 忙しくてつまらないです. It works for me. We'll learn better adjectives for describing busy streets later on, eventually. Okay, so,
暑くて、面白いです。
暑くて面白いです. Okay, that's your opinion?
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
Well, at least it's hot. I was just saying the first thing that came to mind.
Okay, so, yeah, you could also say something like, 小さくて、
おいしくて、
小さくて、
It's
Or
small,
should I
delicious.
go?
It's a delicious town.
I would say 小さくて、あんまり面白くないです。It's small and not super interesting, something like that. Yeah, you can come up with lots of things, but do we need to like come back to this one after people have had a chance to think more about things to say? Yeah, this,
Maybe.
honestly, I think this activity might make a good OPI topic. So you probably want to highlight this one as something to come up with some ideas to think about, because I might just give you guys a few random topics like that and want you to kind of riff on them a little bit as partners in the OPI. So I'm actually going to make a note of that myself if I can find a pen.
We'll come back to that.
Let's see. 200ページ。Let's see.
It's great when page numbers are even like that.
いいですね. Okay, so we can come back to that one since people are having a hard time coming up with thoughts.
It's kind of hard to do that on the
About
fly.
that one. But do think about it, okay? So that for all of those topics, you can think of some things to talk about, ways to describe
Right.
that stuff. So let's look at section 4. メアリーさんは忙しいと言っていました. So we're reporting on things that people said, okay? And you may have noticed in the footnote that と言っていました is for something where you personally got to hear them say it. Okay? If it was something where you know that they said it, but you weren't there to hear it,
Like
you would
paraphrasing?
probably use と言いました, they said. But と言っていました is more like they were saying, and you have to have heard it yourself in order to use that phrase.
What if you weren't sure what they said? Like, I think they said.
と言ってたと思います. You can do that.
Combine them!
Yeah, you have to use the short form
So it would
of
be,
the と言いました part.
so it'd be told you?
というと思います. It would be, I think he will say,
Oh.
right? But like I said before, we haven't learned the past tense of と言っていました yet in the short form. But once we do, you'll be able to put that into its short form and then say と思います to say, I think that so-and-so said such and such. Make sense?
With our grammar powers combined.
Yes. Okay, いいですか? So let's look at what Mary-san is saying. We're going to have Cassie-san read the question and Amba-san the answer. For the example. はい。
メリーさんは何と言っていましたか？
今月
はいつ忙しいと言っていました。
はい、今月は忙しいと言っていました。Okay, so does everybody understand what that said? Yes,
I
no, maybe
think
so?
she's gonna be busy this month.
Yes, she said she's going to be busy this month. 今月は忙しいと言っていました。はい、いいですか?
はい。
じゃあ、アンバーさんとルイマさん、1番お願いします。
来月の
No, you're asking the question
You just
now.
asked
So,
the
宮城さん
question,
は、
ごめんなさい。
はい、いいえ、大丈夫。
メリーさんは来月
なんと、
ごめんメリーさんは
なんと言っていましたか?
It's just the same
It's the same
question.
question.
Yep.
なんと言って
Yeah,
まし
it's
たか?
already confusing.
What
if
did
you look
Mary
at it.
say?
Yeah.
Okay. メリーさん
か、
いましたか？
明日は買い物をと言っていました。
we're doing 一番 still.
Oh,
一番。来月も
What?
一番。
Oh, 来月も暇じゃないと言っていました。
はい、来月も暇じゃないと言っていました。
so she doesn't have a lot of free time next month.
はい、so 今月は忙しいです。来月も暇じゃないですね。
Busy that month too.
はい、来月 means
Next month.
next month, right? And if you look at the kanji, that dai for raigatsu is also kuru, to come, so the coming month. Makes sense, right?
Yes, it
That's
does.
one that I had,
Yeah,
I'm fairly certain that we have studied it,
yeah.
but what is it for last weekend? Senmatsu?
Senshimatsu. Sen.
Senshumatsu.
Sen is like, the sen in sensei first. So it's
Oh.
like the weekend before us, before
Okay.
now, Senshimatsu. This
So
past weekend,
not
the
the
weekend
sen
before
meaning
now.
1,000.
No, not the sen meaning thousand. But also look at kongetsu. It's literally now month, this month.
Right.
Konshu
Kon.
this week, kongetsu this
Ima,
month.
kon, ima.
Ima, yeah, it's the kanji for ima. Even the kon in konnichiwa is that same ima. Okay. Okay, so 来月も暇じゃないと言ってましたね。じゃあ2番。Okay, now you just get to ask a question.
There you go. メリさんは何と言っていましたか？
何と言ってま
何
した。
と言っていましたか？
明日は買い物をすると言っていました。
はい、そうですね。
She's
明日
gonna
は
wear a kimono tomorrow?
いいえ、買い物。
Oh, kaimono.
な、着物、買い物。
Oh, she's gonna do some shopping
はい、そ
tomorrow.
うですよ。
I was about to say.
明日は買い物をすると言っていました。はい、じゃあ3番の質問をどうぞ。
毎日、
の質問、
あ
質問。
エリさんは何と言っていましたか？
毎日、
はい、
漢字を勉強しています。
勉強して
います。
してい
して
る
していると思います。
と言ってい
と
ます。
言っています。
言っていました。
言っていました。
言っていました。はい。
Okay, let me say that again.
はい。
毎日漢字を勉強していると言ってました。
はい、そうです。
と言ってました。
言っていました。はい。じゃあどうぞ質問を聞いてください。
ロバートさんはい
いえ。そうそう。
Yeah.
そうそうそう。そうですね。じゃあどうぞ。ロバートさんは
ロバートさんは何と言っていましたか？
そうですね。
ホームステイをしていると言っていました。
はい。ホームステイをしていると言ってましたね。
Doing
Saying
something
that
at
with, like some kind of British accent. I don't know where that came from.
はい。
Well, I think Robert actually is British, so
そうですね。はい。じゃあどうぞキャシーさん質問を聞いてください。
ロバートさんは何と言ってましたか？お父さんは親切と
親切だ。
親切だ
はい。
親切だと
言って。
言っていました。
はい。親切だと言っていました。The
so
way you know that it's not an E adjective is there's no E hanging off the end, right? So therefore it has to take da. Because it's not a verb, obviously. It's ending with des. And there's no E hanging off the end. So it has to be a non-adjective.
so father is I forget Shinsetsu.
Kind.
I.
親切だと言っていました。So he said the host father is kind. いいですか？じゃあ、アンバさん質問を聞いてください。
ロバートさんは何と言っていましたか？
はい。
奥さんは料理、is it 料理？
料理が
奥さんは料理が上
上手
手だと言っています
と言っていました。
ました。
はい。
Mother's good at cooking.
はい。Make sure you give the お母さん both sounds. Yeah, because it sounded like you said お母さん, which
お母さん
sounds like you're
Sound
calling
like
her
Oka.
honorable hill. Oka is a hill.
Oh.
There's a city called Okayama,
お母さん
Hill Mountain.
Oh.
So, yeah, お母さん.
That's a very good hill.
Yeah. Okay, so お母さんは料理が上手だと言っていました。じゃあ7番。質
ロ
問をどうぞ
バートさんは何と言っていましたか？
お兄さんは大学生だと思います。
だと言っ
だと言っていました。
はい。お兄さんは大学生だと言っていました。
So the older brother is going to college.
はい。大学生ですね。はい。
Or
じゃ
is a college student, more
Hey.
literally.
あ、はい。じゃあ8番の質問をどうぞ。
ロバートさんは何と言っていましたか？
家族は、家族は、英語を話すだ
話しません。Short form is
話さない
はい。話さない。
Oh, ません. I was, okay.
話
So
し
yeah,
ません。話さない。
right. So, repeat that. 家族は英語を話さないと言っています。と言ってました。
はい。と言っていました。はい。そうですね。英語を話さないと言っていました。
Don't speak English.
はい。いいですね。いい練習になりますね。
Alright, so,
Good practice. じゃあ新しい質問ですね。
alright, so weather reporter is Tenki Yoho?
天気予報 is actually the weather report. So
Oh.
you're asking, what did the weather report say?
So Tenki Yoho.
天気予報
Tenki Yoho.
天気予報
wa. Okay. Tenki Yoho wa nan to imasu.
なんと
なんと言っていましたか？
なんと言っていましたか？
明日はいい天気だと言っていました。
はい、そうですね。
There's going to be good weather tomorrow.
はい。じゃあどうぞ。
天気予報は何と言っていましたか？明日は寒くないと言っていました。
はい、そうですね。明日
So it's
は
not-
寒くないと言っていました。
So it's not going to be cold tomorrow.
はい、そうですね。じゃあ、皆さん質問をどうぞ。
天気予
予報
報は何と言っていましたか？
はい、
あさっては雨が降ると言っていました。
そうですよ。はい
So does no.
そうですよ。
Oh, I thought you said so does no.
ごめんなさい。そうですよ。上手。あさっては雨が降ると言っていました。あさって Day after tomorrow.
Oh,
明
oh,
日、あさって。
okay. So day after tomorrow it's going to rain.
はい。
天気予報何と言っていましたか？
天気予報は何と言っていましたか？
あさっては寒い、と言っていました。
はい。あさっては寒いと言っていました。
It's also
Yes,
going to be
huh?
cold.
はい。
I do not want it to be the day after tomorrow now.
Okay, so how's everybody feeling about that? It sounds like sometimes it's still kind of tying up your tongue a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
probably a good idea to practice some
Oh, yeah.
more of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's look at part B. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, okay, we're gonna practice asking and answering these questions and write down answers, okay? And then report back to the class, so-and-so said blah, 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 so-and-so said blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys just a few minutes to work with a partner or partners. Do you guys wanna go girls against guys? We've only got 5 people, so,
So it's
Zach
either
is-
that or we split someone in half.
So I'm not interested in doing that, so why don't Zach and Sandlin ask each other these questions and write down your partner's answers, and then the 3 of you practice asking and answering each other. So you can kind of do the round robin thing where, you know, Cassie asks Amber a question, both people write down her answer, then Amber asks Dreama a question, both people write down her answer, Dreama asks Cassie a question, both people write down her answer. So ask each other all 4 questions, okay? So you should get answers down for all 3 of you for all 4 questions. And you guys should get answers down for both of you for all 4 questions. Make sense?
Okay, what does Shumatsu mean again?
Shimatsu, weekend.
Weekend.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So one of you might want to move to make it easier to work together.
Done.
Okay? And I will kind of
週末は何をし
eavesdrop.
ますか
I'm gonna give you guys like 5 minutes, okay? So, and then we're gonna talk about,
週末は何をしてますか
Right.
週末は何をしますか
Okay. テレビを見て、寝ます。見て寝ます。I'm gonna watch TV and sleep. And I'll ask you the same question. 週末は
you're on it as much as you need to write the other
Right.
people's, because you're
So-
gonna be reporting on what they told you and vice versa.
So,
You don't have to say what
週
you said,
末
you
は
have to say what they
何
said.
何をしますか
本を
リム
書い
は
ています。
どうですか？
何
本を書いています。
書いて
書いて。
You're going to what a book?
書いて。
What is 書いて? I'm trying to remember.
Like.
Oh, right. I was about to say, I don't think that's Yomu.
そういうの話していけないの
All right, ask the next question.
Right. 日
本はどうですか
日本はどうですか? Oh,
家族
楽しくて面白いです.
Okay, just pretend you're exchange students. Okay.
So basically, number
Make
two
it up,
is
so.
asking, what do you think of Japan?
はい。はい。日本はどうですか?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So how is Japan like for
もう
you?
一度言ってください。
yeah. Oh, 楽しくて面白いです.
はい。楽しくて面白いです。はい。いいですね。
週末何をしますか週末は
All right. Now I'll ask you the same question. 日本はどうですか?
忙しくて楽しいです。
アルバイトをする usually アルバイトをして what else?
います。いる。している。
as well ask the next question then. Nihon no tomodachi. Wait, oh, there's a slash there.
Sorry, the family or friend.
Okay, so Nihon no tomodachi, tomodachi wa donna hito desu ka? Oh, what kind of people are they?
かっこよくて、楽しいです。
Oh, so they're good-looking people too, huh?
Cool.
So kakkoi, kakku.
かっこよくて、何
Oh,
かっこよくて、
kakuyokute, right? Kakuyokute. And again, ta.
楽しい。
いです。Ask me the question.
日本の友達はどんな人ですか？
面白いくて小さoh, I'm not thinking of it right. 背が低いです。Not that that's a bad thing.
That was two, yes.
All right.
どんな人が好きですか？
Okay. 頭頭が良くて面白いです。We're using that one a lot, aren't we?
右がけて面白くて。
All right. どんな人が好きですか？
ちょっと待ってください。
はい。
右がけて面白くて。
じゃあ、どうですか Almost finished?
Almost.
頭が良くて面白いですね。
5 more minutes?
So yeah. So
Yes.
どんな or wait, are you still writing it down?
いえ。どうぞ。
Alright. So どんな人が好きですか？
綺麗で面白いです。
Okay, so beautiful and interesting, huh? I can't remember the hey. Ah, right. Wait, もう一度言ってください。
綺麗で面白いです。
綺麗で面白いですか
でもしいです。There we go. Stop trying to remember all the adjectives we know.
終わりましたか Did you finish?
Yeah.
はい。
はい。
Kind and quiet. On number 3?
Okay.
どうですか
Was that, wait, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Almost done?
Yes.
I'm still waiting on 4, 3.
When you say I don't have
どんな人が好きですか? どんな No,
What kind of
what
people?
kind
What
of person do you like? It's not asking who do you like, it's asking what kind of person do you like? Your ideal person. It doesn't have to be like, you know, date, it could be just in general.
What do
kind
you
of
like
people
in
do you like to
people?
hang out with?
I don't know the word for honest.
Okay, what about other traits that we have the words for then? Omoshiroi, right?
What is the word for honest, though?
Like, we just use Moshiroi all the time.
I know.
Why is
Yeah.
it variety? Always
Okay.
Moshiroi.
Yeah, well, tanoshii, shinsatsu
Yeah, we've got those down here too.
Okay,
Yeah, several times. yeah.
okay, so you're running out of good words. Okay.
Genki.
Genki, there's
Genki.
one.
Thank you.
Genki,
You like healthy people.
energetic. In that case, it's more
Ah.
like energetic.
I see.
Genki na hito ga suki desu.
But seriously, what is the word for honest? I feel like I've heard it before.
Well, there are several words, but I'm just trying to think which one could be applied to humans. Because honto is true, but you don't really use that for people, so let me think.
Using the power of Google Translate, or whatever translation has you got in that thing.
I've got Mimiwa, which is a Japanese dictionary, which is better than its
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so seijitsu. Okay.
How do you do that? Wow.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay. Seijitsu.
Seijitsu?
Seijitsu na hito.
Oh, let me write that down. Oh, wait, my notebook's over here.
No one's giving
So,
you anything. That's
You
all
guys
we
all
got.
my answers.
Seijitsu?
Which one, honey?
Okay.
I gave you 1, 2, 3.
Okay. じゃあ、メッシさん、誠実な人が好きですね。誠実な人。
ありがとう。
I could not think of the words, I looked it up.
Honest.
誠実。
Faithful.
じゃあ、やりましょう。Even if you didn't finish, let's just do what you've got. いいですか?
Oh.
Okay, so, anybody want to volunteer to start, or should we just kind of go around? はい、どうぞ。
Okay. Trying to figure out how to do it. Just start with the first question?
Sure. So you can ask, so I could ask you, for example, 林さんは何と言いましたか or 何と言っていましたか and you could say,
寝ました。
okay, so 週末に
Shumatsu, oh, I see, okay, okay. Shumatsu ni
or 週末は、
nimashita no neru?
寝ると
Neru to itemasu.
There you go.
She said she's
週
going to
末
sleep.
は寝ると言っていました She says she sleeps on weekends. はい。いいですね。Okay, じゃあ、アンバーさん、let's get one example from you.
一番
Any,
Doesn't
just
matter.
pick one.
キャシさんは話したI don't remember this one. 賑やくて面白いですと言っていました。
Okay, let's fix that a little bit. Okay, so, first of all, which question was she answering when you, with that answer? 一番 So, 週末は何を
2番。
2番 Okay,
2
so
番
日本はどうですか So, Takashi-san wa, okay, wa, Nihon ga, and then what adjectives did you say?
Um, 賑やかで
Nigiyaka. Now, this is not an e adjective, right? It's a non-adjective, so nigiyaka de, right? That's the te form of da. Te form of des is de, okay? So nigiyaka de. What was the other one?
面白い
Omoshiroi. Okay. Omoshiroi. To, right? And then
いていました
Itemashita. Okay, so that's the format we're going for. The person's name, wa, Teshi-san wa, then what she said in, with short form ending, to itemashita. Right? Does everybody see that? That's the structure that we're going for here. Make sense?
Right.
Okay, so キャシさんは日本が賑やかで面白いと言っていました。Okay? So キャシさん, it's your turn to say something about somebody else.
はい。アンプさんは週末にアルバイトをして寝ると言っていました。
はい、いいですね。じゃあザックさん、サンデンさんは何と言っていましたか？
サンデンさんは綺麗で面白いです人
OK、きれいで面白い人
面白い人 OK
が
が好きです
好きだ。
好きだと言っていました
そうですね。きれいで面白い人が好きだと言っていました。
I forgot you don't conjugated the verb comes right after it
Right. 好き
or
だ
now
と言っていました。いいですね。じゃあサンドンさん、ザックさんは何と言っていましたか？は
ザクさんは週末が
い。お週末は
テレビを見て寝ると、言っていました。
はい。いいですね。
I may sleep but at least I watch TV while doing so
OK、わかりますか？皆さんわかりますか？ Does everybody get how the structure works and how to create it? Now we just need to practice it more, right?
Yeah
So hold on to your notes about what people said, and we may use this again next class to do some more practice with how to talk about what someone else said. Okay?
And maybe sometimes we should like just have an asking session of what are adjectives for this or that because we already know how to conjugate the adjectives.
Okay, well, if there are specific adjectives that you really want to know, you can ask, and we'll see. If you want to email me, don't make it a huge long list, but if you've got like a couple adjectives that you think would be really useful to know.
Yeah, because I remember I asked a couple
If
of
you
others.
email me, then I can make sure I know them before class starts instead of spending class time looking it up.
Ah,
Because some of them I might know off the top of my head, some of them I might not. So, okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next segment for a little while. Okay, so.
part 5?
Yeah, part 5, minaide kudasai. So we had test form kudasai last time, right? So tarete kudasai, please eat. What about if you want them to not do something, please? Okay. Right, you put it in the negative form, and then the te form of every negative is with a de. Okay, so naide kudasai. Okay?
So the title of this is Please Don't Look.
Yeah, so, now, te form of regular, if you're just doing, like, sequence, minakute, another way to do TEF form for like sequence of he didn't do this or that kind of thing. But when it's specifically, please don't do X, that's when we use しないでください. So,
Could you still use the regular te form for that, or?
no. If you're specifically saying, please don't do X, please don't do, this is the form, blank o shinaide kudasai, or, you know, it can be any verb. I put shinaide kudasai here for suru, because that's sort of a generic one, but if you're saying, please don't eat that, tabenaide kudasai, please don't look at it, minaide kudasai. You know, like, テストの時、教科書を見ないでください。わかりますか？テストの時、友達のテストを見ないでください。
Oh yeah, that would be
Right?
bad.
テストの時、携帯電話を見ないでください。携帯電話。
Keitai?
携帯電話。携帯 is satellite。
Oh.
携帯電
Satellite
話。
phone.
はい。それからこの教室でタバコを吸わないでください。That's
Hi.
another good one, right? So,
Nenai?
寝ないでください。はい。授業中に寝ないでください。Please don't sleep during class. はい。わかりますか？
Hi.
So, let's see, let's look at the example. So, you're embarrassed about your driver's license photo, so you're saying,
Don't look at it.
写真を見ないでください. Don't look at the picture. 写真を見ないでください. Right? じゃあ、Rima-san, 1番, how would you do that one?
英語を話さないでください。
はい、英語を話さないでください。はい、じゃあ2番、三分さん。
電話をかけないでください。
はい、じゃあ3番。
Okay. Uchi wa?
うちに。
Oh, uchi ni, right. Uchi ni konai?
はい、
Uchi ni konai kudasai.
来ない。
Konai de kudasai.
はい、来ないでください。来ないでください。Very good. じゃあ、キャシーさん。
行かないでください。
はい、行かないでください。じゃあ5番。
楽をしない
吸わない。
言わない
はい
でください。
吸わないで。吸わないでください。はい、吸わないでください。じゃあ6番。
クラスに寝ないでください。
はい。じゃあ7番、三分さん。
I forgot what it is to forget.
忘れる。
忘れる。
It's actually kind of fitting.
忘れないでください。
はい、忘れないでください。忘れるを忘れないでください。わかりますか？
Hi.
はい、じゃあ8番どうぞ。
Okay, would stare also be look, or is there a different
じろ
word?
じろ見る。It's one of our new 単語。じろじろ見る。We haven't done Tango drill lately, have we?
No, we
I
haven't.
forgot to.
Jiho jiho mihu.
はい、じろじろ見る。
Sounds kind of cute, actually.
いいな
Jiho jiho mihu, minai. Jiho jiho minai de kudasai.
はい、じろじろ見ないでください。はい。じゃあ、キャシーさん、9番。
I'm not entirely sure how to word it.
Okay, get is まだ。
We're on 10.
はい。
Or 9,
9番。はい。まだ授業を始まらないでください。
Wait,
始まる。
what's the yet part?
まだ。
Oh, mada. Is that also a new one?
Plus, yes, はい。And 始めない is the one they introduced in this class.
Don't stop.
This class. So, 始めないでください。So, まだ授業を始めないでください。
Wait.
So-
Oh, jugyo. That's also another word for class?
Is probably new this chapter too.
I
or
actually
maybe
don't.
not.
I don't see it at all.
Okay, so you could
Does
use
anyone else see
kurasu.
it?
You could use kurasu を始めないでください。 Okay, so we need to do our Tango drill at least once because we forgot to, and nobody knows these vocab, it seems like.
I know 2 of them and then I forget the
Okay,
rest.
so まだクラスを始めないでください。That's what that one would be. いいですか？
Please don't start yet.
はい、じゃあ10番。I think that's another new one. Am I right?
Oh yeah.
遅くなる
Osoku naru.
遅くならない
遅くならないで
遅くならない
で
でく
ください。
ください
はい、ください。そう遅くならないでください。いいですね。
黒板まだを消さないでください。
まだ黒板を
まだ黒板を消さない
で、
でください。
はい、消さないでください。はい、まだ黒板を消さないでください。You want to be careful not to separate the noun from its particle. When it's a direct object like that, you need to make sure that the noun and the o stick together. So that's why you want to put the mada first rather than in between the two. So, まだ黒板を消さないでください。じゃあ12番、そのさん。
ちょっと待ってください。
はい。
雑誌を捨てる、
捨て
捨て、
ない。
捨てないでください。
はい。雑誌を捨てないでください。Okay, we only have a couple minutes left, but how about if we do a quick run through of the Tango, just once through, so that everybody can see what they all mean. Okay,
Right.
so asatte, day after tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow.
Asatte.
Ame,
Rain.
rain.
Ame.
Kaishain.
Office worker. Kaishain.
はい。カメラ、
Camera.
カメラ、
Kamera.
カラオケ、
Karaoke.
カラオケ、
Karaoke.
空気、
Air.
air,
Kuki.
今朝、
This morning.
this morning,
Kesa.
黒板、
Blackboard.
blackboard,
Kekuban.
黒板。It's not 黒板, it's 黒板。
Oh, kokuban.
はい。今月、
This month.
this month,
Kongetsu.
はい。仕事、
Job.
job,
Shigoto.
大学生、
College student.
college student,
Daigakse.
天気予報、
Weather forecast.
weather forecast,
Tenki yoho.
ところ、
Place.
place,
Tokaho.
トマト、
Tomato.
tomato,
Babato.
夏、
Summer.
summer,
Natsu.
何か、
Something.
something,
Nanika.
パーティー、
Party.
パーティー、
Party.
バーベキュー、
Barbecue.
バーベキュー、
Barbecue.
箸、
Chopsticks.
chopsticks,
Hashi.
冬、
Winter.
winter,
Kuyu.
ホームステ
Homestay. Living with a local family.
イ、ホームステ
Homestay.
イ、はい、毎週、
Every week. Maishu.
来月、
Next month.
next month,
Raigetsu.
上手な、
Good at.
skillful,
Jozana.
下手、
Clumsy.
clumsy, ポラ、
Hetana.
下手な、有名な、
Famous.
famous,
Yumena.
雨が降る、
It rains.
rains,
Amega furu.
洗う、
To wash.
to wash,
Ahau.
you,
To say.
to say,
Iu.
いる、
To need.
to need.
Iu. Wait.
Notice that it's an uber. いる、いります. Not いる、います.
I was about to say.
Two different verbs. 遅くなる、
To be late.
to be late.
Osokunaru.
思う、
To
to
think.
think.
Amo.
切る、
To cut.
to cut.
Kihu.
Notice it's a different kanji than 切る to wear.
Do not cut your clothing.
Yeah. つける、
To make.
sorry, 作る、
Oh.
make.
Oh, yeah.
作る
Tsuru.
and
to make. Tsukuru.
持っていく。
Take.
To take.
持っていく.
じろじろ見る。
To stare at.
To stare at,
字を見る。
steru, throw away,
捨てる。
はい、始める、
To begin.
begin,
始める。
運転する、
Drive.
drive,
運転する。
洗濯する、
To do laundry.
laundry,
洗濯する。
掃除する、
To clean.
to clean,
掃除する。
電話する、
To call.
to call.
電話する。
Notice that's an alternate for 電話をかける. They both work. Okay.
So they're
料理する
interchangeable?
Mostly.
Okay.
料理する
To cook.
to cook.
料理する。
いつも
Always.
always.
いつも。
うん。
Uh-uh.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
乾
杯
Cheers!
Cheers.
乾杯
残念ですね。
That's too bad.
That's too bad.
残念ですね。
について
About.
about
について。
はい、まだ What's a negative?
Not yet.
Not yet.
まだ。
みんなで
All.
together. All
みん
together.
なで。
みんな
みんな
で。
で。
はい。So it's like we're all doing something together. みんなで。
Let's all do something.
Okay. みんなで行きましょう。みんなでやりましょ
みんなで食べましょ
う。はい。Okay. 質問がありますか? Any questions? Lots of questions, but any questions that you want to ask right now? 時間ですから。はい。Okay. So for next class, I would say go back and review the things that we worked on today and make sure you're comfortable with them. And go on to the next segments of the textbook, and we will probably do several more, making requests and 勉強するのが好きですか? We'll work on that segment again on Tuesday.
Oh, also.
誰がイギリス人ですか? We'll be talking about that stuff. And we'll see how far we get. And we will kind of go back and forth and do some more practice of some of the stuff that people were getting tongue-tied over too.
Also, the thing about colors, I know it's coming next chapter, but is there some sort of special conjugation that needs to go with those?
For what?
For colors, because I thought, aren't they just adjectives, or?
No, some colors act more like the adjectives, and some of them are more like nouns.
You guys have a good holiday weekend, enjoy yourselves, be safe.
Right?
So colors are just weird.
Yeah, some colors have both adjective and noun forms, and some only have noun forms.
Oh. I did not know that.
I'm the same way. Like if somebody, I was mean to Rebecca because she didn't die a little bit early. Actually, I was grumpy.
It's gonna be interesting,
So
that's
we
for
were, like,
sure.
hated her in economics because it happened in statistics when we were